Unbelievable. Let's flash ahead. This is during a period where you were the number one touring rock act in the country, maybe throughout the world.
In the world, yeah, 77, 78, 79.
Cat Scratch Fever, Stranglehold. Let's take each song, because we're going to play them all.
Killer song!
And give us a meaty introduction, behind the scenes meaning, and how it was created, all that.
Well, if you listen to the opening riff of Stranglehold, it's a direct result of the musicality, the virtuosity that I was surrounded with. Greatest drummers, greatest bass players, greatest vocalists, and I mean really dedicated musicians. And we always jammed. We'd jam for 24, 30 hours at a time, just constantly examining and exploring our guitar necks and our bass necks and grooves and counter rhythms that we were taught by the masters, Chuck Berry and certainly the James Brown, the Famous Flames. And what I did with Stranglehold is I just started out a grinding rhythm with an open pedal tone in the key of A, because I was playing a Gibson Birdland, and the reason I was playing so many counter rhythms and pedal tones on that open A string is because the Birdland guitar, the Gibson Birdland guitar, if you didn't keep touching the strings and pounding counterpoints, it would blow up and feed back out of control.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I just kept the and you can hear in my guitar strumming, in my guitar pounding, you can hear a tambourine, a hi-hat, a bass drum, a snare, a bass guitar, and counter rhythms before anybody else even joins me, because I was so driven by the great drummers that we played with, Dave Palmer at the time, and then Cliff Davies at that point. And so Stranglehold turned into a song that said, "Here I come again now, baby, like a dog in heat." And I was talking to the music industry, saying, you can't tell me I need keyboards. You can't tell me I need vocal harmonies. You can't tell me that feedback guitars aren't cool. You can't tell me that rugged individual, ass-kicking, right-wing, gun-toting, deer-slaying guitar players aren't cool. Yeah? Well, check this out. I got you in a stranglehold, baby. You best get out of my way. It was a song of defiance saying, this is the music I believe in. This is the music I'm playing. And if you don't like it, move out of the way.
Damn right. Turn it up.
Turn it up. Well, you know, we like it loud. Here I come. The song celebrates the wall of sound. Come on, boys, let's make some noise. The stage is like a wall of sound. More power by the hour is what I need to help me blow the world down. So turn it up, make it louder than hell. Turn it up, make it ring like a bell. I know what I like. Got to turn it up tonight. It's just a song about the uninhibitedness, the ferocity of that rhythm and blues vision of my bands, that louder could only be better.
How long did it take you to come up with that riff that you were,
I'm not telling you, Alan, when I picked up my guitar this morning, a killer lift it just blew up off my fingers.
Yeah?
Every time I pick up the guitar, a killer lick comes off. And whether it's Cat Scratch Fever, Turn It Up, Free for All, Dog Eat Dog, all those songs, they happened right then, right there, right now.
Unbelievable. Let's talk about Cat Scratch Fever. Now, that's another one of those songs that doesn't get old. It still sounds good. It's one of those songs, again, where classic rock, unfortunately, or rock and roll, we'll get to this whole topic of where we stand in rock today. But still, despite the fact those are the songs that we're talking about, these are the songs you still hear on the radio, which is a feat in itself. But yeah, talk about Cat Scratch Fever.
Well, we still play the song every night. I think it's the sexiest grinding song in the history of guitars, man. Another classic example of just being in the dressing room before we go on stage. I got the Gibson Birdland, I got a little Fender amplifier, and I'm just blasting out these licks. And the original honky-tonk and boogie-woogie is the foundation of all the great music today. You know, no matter who you listen to, whether it's Aerosmith or Christina Aguilera or the Chili Peppers or Kid Rock or the Rolling Stones or the Beatles, you always got that ka-gung, 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 the original honky-tonk. And if you take that original guitar honky-tonk lick, ka-gung, 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 and you play it instead of just notes, you play whole chords, instead of it going ka Ga-goong, 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 ga-goong. It goes, ga-goong, ga-gang, ga-gang, da-da-da. And I just started beating on it like I would think the Motown Funk Brothers would if they had a loud amplifier. And that song to this day, man, is just a grinder. Nobody can get away without dancing when we play Cat Scratch Fever.
It's a toss-up. I don't know which song gets the biggest crowd reaction. Does it vary from venue to venue? Which song gets people going the most?
You stop and think of the songs we play. We start with Wango Tango sometimes, then Gonzo off the Double Live Gonzo, just what the doctor ordered. Free for All, Stormtroopin'. Are you kidding me? No matter what song. Hey Baby, Live It Up. Dog Eat Dog. Are you kidding me?
I love that.
Every song we play, Stranglehold, Cat Scratch Fever, Great White Buffalo. Are you kidding me? Every song is just a musical orgy up there on the stage. The energy and the attitude of my music. Every song, Motor City Madhouse. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Wang Dang Sweet Poontang.
Wang Dang Sweet Poontang every night. And then if you listen from the last few years, we have a song called Crave off the Crave Man album.
Yes,
That's
great.
what we use for the intro of our Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show. And that song really defines many people's lives about standing up for what you believe in and putting your heart and soul into being the best that you can be. But I think the song Crave, Spirit of the Wild, and Fred Bear are some of the greatest songs I've ever recorded.
And some of the more recent songs, Love Grenade.
Love Grenade, killer guitar lick, are you kidding me?
Oh, man, that's a great one.
And the song on the Love Grenade record called Still Raising Hell. It's about you can't keep a good man down, about really charging forth no matter what people might say. So I'm real proud of my recent stuff.
We're talking to Ted Nugent. Obviously, if you're just tuning in, you know the voice of a great friend of the show. The passion that you have, not only because of Fred Bear, we'll get to that a little bit later, but the passion, you come from a generation when everybody loved rock and roll. If you were over the age of 13 or 14, rock, you were part of the rock culture. And that passion and that love, it's probably still there. We can't say it's not there, but it sure isn't like it was when you were coming up. Talk about that passion and the state of rock today.
Well, number one, there are a few prodiginators. Dave Grohl, he's a real rocker. Kid Rock, he makes the real McCoy. Jack White with his white stripes and the different things that he does, that's killer stuff. Certainly Sammy Hagar and his Chicken Foot guys. I love everything the Chili Peppers do. There's some great bands out there, but I'm saddened to say, Alan, that it'll never reflect that universal celebration of the spirit of defiant, uppity, celebratory rock and roll, because every music store owner loved the music.
Yeah.
Everybody that worked at the music store loved the music. Every radio station owner, the manager, the disc jockeys, the people that sold the ads and did the news and the traffic, they all loved the music.
Right.
There was never background noise. Whenever those great killer songs by, Van Halen and Aerosmith and Cheap Trick and Heart and Ronnie Montrose and the Amboy Dukes and my band and the Stones and the Beatles and the Yardbirds and the Kinks and the Who, are you kidding me? When that music came on, not only did the promoter love the music, but the guy who owned the building loved the music. The people that helped you set it up and the janitors, everybody loved the music. And I'm afraid that's gone now. Now, luckily, in 2012, we are still packing places, so there's still a huge army of heart and soul music lovers all across the globe.
Yes.
Just live to hear these songs. We're out with REO Speedwagon and Styx, and the people are dancing and smiling and laughing, fists clenched in the air, every REO song, every Styx song, every Ted Nugent song. So there are a bunch of passionate music lovers everywhere.
And much more than the media would let on. Much more than, if you scan the FM band and you hear some of the things that your radio stops on, you would get the impression rock and roll's dead, but it's not.
No, it's not dead, but here's the real curse. When you have a magazine like Rolling Stone, and Jan Wenner, the founder of Rolling Stone magazine, who created the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they put someone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame like ABBA, Grandmaster Flash, Madonna.
I agree.
I mean, how disrespectful to Chuck Berry can you get?
Yeah.
The than to have these anti-rockers in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And let's just put it on a personal note for a moment, shall we?
Sure.
So Rolling Stone magazine, they're so stoned and stupid, they don't know how stoned and stupid they look. They put a list of the top 100 guitarists out every year, and I'm not on it, but Joan Jett is.
Oh, man.
Joan Baez is on the list.
Of guitar? Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. If you're a fellow doper, or if you're left wing, you can be on their guitar players list. But if you're on the board of directors of the NRA, let's pretend he doesn't exist. It's just really an indication of what happens when you smoke that much dope.
Well, they ignored Angus Young for many, many years, too.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. How about that Kiss is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but ABBA is?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we talked about that on the air. Listeners were just, it is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay, if it was a music Hall of Fame, you could have a good argument.
Sure.
But it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. TedNugent.com is the website. A few more songs I want to get into, and as we record here, I just want to make sure I don't go over my bounds here. Can you stay on another 5?
Yeah, a little while, you betcha.
Oh, great, because I could go on forever with you, Ted.
I appreciate that, Alan.
Ted, another great song. You mentioned it. It's we started off the interview talking about your dogs, but Dog Eat Dog just has that hypnotic quickly. I mean, it's one of those records that when we were disc jockeys, when we play it on the air, it's what you'd like to start off a segment with because it just kicks. Give us an introduction to the guitar riff and everything in that.
Well, again, the Dog Eat Dog lick is a perfect example. I was in a dressing room before going on stage, tuning my guitar, just kind of blasting out these riffs and playing Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley stuff. And I just got these great tones out of my mighty Gibson Birdland guitars, and I just started with the kind of like reminiscing Pete Townsend with the Who, the kind of way he blasted those power chords. Yeah. And I got a rhythm behind it. And I'm from Detroit, and that's kind of a volatile area, especially in the world of social conflict, shall we say. And I just started singing Sabotage on the downtown streets, police cars overturn, can't do nothing to beat the heat, and if you don't, you'll get burned, a kamikaze from the 100th floor. I just started squawking these lyrics out, and Derek was in the band, and I said, Derek, sing this, man. And I love the song. It's got the great guitar tone, and the solo goes places. And I played bass guitar on that song, actually. I played an alembic bass, and that was me playing bass on Dog Eat Dog.
Did you do the howl? Ow!
Ow, 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 ow! Yeah, Derek and I always do the doggy thing.
It was social commentary, too, because you were talking about some of the news headlines of the day. It reminds me of Frank Zappa with a song he had called Trouble Every Day.
Sure.
And by the way, speaking of Frank Zappa, you were actually kind enough days, I guess just a week or so before he died, you came on my show. We did a tribute to him. We had Frank Zappa on, and you were one of the things that really made him smile. You called in to speak to him before that final, the final day.
I remember that. He was a great man, a great virtuoso, and when he toured Michigan in 1967, I was actually his driver in the Amboy Dukes van.
You were?
For the first Mother's Invention tour in Michigan, 1967, the Amboy Dukes opened up, and I drove them around the state.
You were recording for his label briefly?
Actually, yeah, in the mid-'70s, before the Ted Nugent solo stuff, we were on Discreet Records, and that was Frank Zappa's label. We had some great records out, Tooth, Fang, and Claw.
I love that.
Wild.
Tooth, Fang, and Claw. Man, what a great cover, and I just love that song.
Great songs, man.
Oh, yeah, that's just great. We're going to hear some of that, too. Let's talk about the Damn Yankees on this tour. Are you guys, from what I understand, you do a couple of things together? Are you doing some of the Damn Yankee songs?
Boy, we're trying to organize that. It's really demanding with all three artists on the tour. The facilities do have time constraints, and I would love more than anything to get up there and play Coming of Age or High Enough or Come Again with Tommy Shaw. What a great musician he is. But so far, we haven't been able to pull it off. We tried to get Jack Blades in on a concert when we were out west, but his schedule wouldn't coordinate either. I think the fact that we're having a hard time even getting on stage during the tour together is indicative of how difficult it is to get the damn Yankees back together. But I'm so proud of what Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw and Michael Cardelloni and I created. Those damn Yankees songs will hold the test of time. They'll stand up, and I love them.
High Enough, just great stuff.
Killer stuff, man.
Yeah, I love this stuff. There's a couple of songs there. Don't Tread on Me is
Don't
one of my...
Tread, great riff, man.
That's you. I mean, that's Ted Nugent. That's the passion of Ted Nugent, and it came across in that album, and in fact, in 2 albums. So I just love the damn Yankees. We're not going to leave them out of the mix. The other thing I want to talk about before we get to Fred Bear is I Still Believe. That talks about the passion. That's one of your most recent things. Talk about it.
Yeah, it's an interesting time. It's very expensive to produce a song. I mean, the studio time and the producer and the engineer and getting everybody together and the hotels and the travel and the food and lodging, you can't put a song together for under $20,000-$30,000 nowadays. So what we did is I just went into a local studio here in Central Texas, and I've got all these killer new songs. I wish you could hear some of the other ones, but I just did a quick demo in an afternoon of I Still Believe and another brand new song called I Love My Barbecue. And even though they're just in raw demo form without the final good tones and good mix and balances, you can get those free download of the 2 songs at my website. And that's an indication of how crazy the industry is, because you go and you invest lots of money in a song, then people can get them for free. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and that's interesting. The recording process, you really don't have to go into a professional studio. You can do it at home.
Yeah, but then again, it comes off like a demo. You'll never get that big, rich, fat, dynamic sound.
That's true.
Unless you really go full-fledged production. So I Still Believe and I Love My Barbecue. They're in demo form. They still sound cool as hell, but they're in demo form, free download at tednugent.com.
Listen, I was on the website, which is always great, informative, of whether it's his television show, his hunting, or his political views. Everything's there, tednugent.com. But I see there's Nuge Java. I didn't know you were a coffee guy. Tell me about Nuge Java.
Well, for years I write for a lot of sporting publications, and I often reference the incredible spirit in hunting camp. There, you get up way before dawn, and you got your sons, and you got your family there, you got your hunting buddies, or maybe some heroes of the military that are come to deer camp with you. And there's something about that northern woods, and the coffee pot goes off, and the whole cabin fills up with this wonderful coffee aroma, and it gets very nostalgic and very spiritual. It's a spiritual scent of the hunting camp. And I had written about that often, and so a custom coffee brewer got a hold of me and said, you really deliver the essence of that coffee aroma in your writings. How would you like to have your own Ted Nugent coffee? And I said, yeah, that sounds cool. Send me something to try, and I'll help you tweak it. And years ago they did, so now we have our own Nuge Java. And just like our Nuge coffee and my Ted Nugent arrows from Gold Tip, we have 3 different arrows at Gold Tip.
Beef jerky? Remember the beef jerky?
And the jerky, yeah. And now I have a brand new Ted Nugent ammo line coming out. State-of-the-art hunting and self-defense ammo will be out this summer. But like all my stuff, we donate as much as we can to help the military heroes and the terminally ill children, children's charities and military charities. So if you buy Nuge Java or Ted Nugent ammo or Ted Nugent arrows, even if you go to a Ted Nugent concert, I promise you, funds find their way to the heroes of the military and the children's charities.
Absolutely. Ted Nugent. TedNugent.com. Before we talk about the song we always end your show with in its entirety, and that's Fred Bear. Again, this is one of those things that you probably had some guy interviewing you a long time ago who was asking stupid questions and irritating you. And it ends up in High Times magazine that you pooped in your pants to get out of the draft. What is that all about?
Well, number one, Alan, I wish I had, because that's some funny stuff. Are you kidding me? And I think I'd like to announce right now, my name is Ted Nugent, and I actually soiled myself to get out of the Allan Handelman interview. You've been around me often enough. Humor is a huge part of my life.
Even against yourself?
Absolutely. And in these crazy times, and especially back in the 60s, when all the music writers, I won't even give them the term journalists, they were so stoned and so unprofessional, and they smelled bad, and they were always late, and they would always misinterpret things. They never got anything right. They'd list songs that we performed badly that we did not perform, Alan. They'd fail to mention that we had the crowd on their feet all night long, and they'd attack me because I was anti-drug, or they'd attack me because I was a member of the NRA, and they got it all wrong. So oftentimes, with the band in the room, these interviewers would come in, and I'd talk and make up these stories about how I played Johnny B. Good on my umbilical cord when I was born, and how I used to buy dope for the MC5 from my friends in Colombia. And my bandmates knew that I was so militantly anti-drug that these hippie writers were writing this stuff down and actually putting it in the stories. Yeah. My band members would die laughing. They'd have to leave the room. They were laughing so hard.
Again, very similar to what Frank Zappa had to deal with and Angus Young had to deal with.
Yes.
They never did drugs.
Yes. And so I made up this story about how I got out of the draft by pooping all over myself, which is just absurd because it's a public record. I went down, I did my physical, and I got a 1Y deferment because I was in the Oakland Community College at the time. Pooping your pants will not get you out of the draft, but they keep repeating it because the people that hate me, they don't have anything. They don't have anything to hate me for. So they've got to go to a hippie magazine and repeat a fantasy make-believe story that some dopey writer wrote who fell for a story that I gave him. And let me make it perfectly clear. Alan, if I had done something like that to get out of the draft, do you think I would deny it?
Absolutely not.
That's some funny stuff.
That's absolutely not. That's the thing about Ted. You do speak your mind. You don't hold back. This is no holds barred entertainment, and that's why it's entertainment, because Ted Nugent, with his passion and his love for this country, and sometimes outrageous things might come out of his mouth. Hey, that's part of the entertainment value of somebody who has as much passion and is a rock and roller.
Yep, and you look, I write a feature every week and every month for Newsmax.com and for Washington Times and WashingtonTimes.com and for Human Events, and you can get them all at TedNugent.com. But when I write a nice story about Mother's Day, for example, all the Ted haters have is to attack me for pooping my pants getting out of the draft. It happened 45 years ago, and it never happened. It was an interview, and had I done that, there would be some public record in the official military documents, wouldn't there be?
Why?
So they've got to go back to a stupid story that was made up 45 years ago because they've got nothing on me. It's so hysterical. It just makes me look smarter and better than all of them.
Does it, because you handle it so well publicly, when you hear all this criticism, it seems to just bounce off your back, but does it hurt you? Does it hurt your feelings deep down?
No, not at all, not at all. There's good people and there's bad people. All the good people stand with me. All the bad people hate me.
Yeah.
Real simple. It really is a line drawn in the sand. And as long as the bad people hate you, it proves you're good. Let me just conclude it with this, Alan. My name is Ted Nugent. I'm 63 years old. I'm a human being. I've stumbled. I had a child out of wedlock while I was married to my soulmate. There is no more vile, inexcusable crime than a man cheating on his wife. I just admitted to you and to all the listeners the worst thing a man can do.
Mm-hmm. You have.
I hide nothing. I have nothing to hide. I'm a man. I stumbled. Constantly, families who must know what I'm made out of, they vet me. They research me. They find out what I stand for. And families who are saying goodbye to their sons and daughters, terminally ill little boys and girls, they think I'm okay enough to take their dying child on their last hunting or fishing trip.
You bet.
If I pass that test, there is no more demanding test than a family going through the heartbreak of saying goodbye to a child to invite me into their lives. If I pass that test, there is no more powerful test.
Ted, as always, thank you for being on the Allan Handelman Show. You are one of our favorites.
Back at you, Alan. I appreciate the opportunity. When I speak, I'm not just speaking for myself and the Nugent family. I'm speaking for people who are honest, who put their heart and soul into being as productive as they can. They know that the whole world sucks, but America sucks less. And under Barack Obama and Eric Holder, we're learning to suck more. But that because men and women are sacrificing their lives and their quality of life in the U.S. military to fight evil for the U.S. Constitution, that I represent those men and women by using the freedom they provide. It's such painful sacrifice because the American dream is about we the people, and I will not fail in saying thank you to a dead Marine by using the Constitution that he died for and demanding my government adheres to it.
Best of luck to you, and I'll be looking forward to that special concert at DPAC coming up in August.
Well, God bless you, Alan, and everybody in your life. God bless all the listeners out there and all the men and women of the military and their families and law enforcement and people who are driven and succeed at being in the asset column of the greatest quality of life in the history of the world, the United States of America. God bless America.
How can you not like this guy? Who gives you a better interview? Who speaks from his heart more than Ted Nugent?
Thank you, Alan. Godspeed.
Bye-bye.